Hello and welcome back to the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars. I'm John Milewski, host of Dialogue. We're on the set of Dialogue, where I just concluded a very provocative and interesting discussion with our guest Akbar Ahmed. This is Akbar's latest work, Journey into America, The Challenge of Islam. He and his team traveled across the country, 75 cities, 100 mosques, one of the most expansive and extensive and deepest explorations of the Muslim American experience. And then ultimately you end up talking about the American experience as well.
Exactly, because John, the two are connected. This community, the Muslim community, about 7 million in number, is now coming of age. You have congressmen from this community, community leaders, important voices. At the same time, with all the incidents and events that are emerging after 9/11, the emergence of the homegrown terrorist phenomena, for example, people really want to know what this community is, what they think, how they live, what their ideas are about America. And Muslim leaders themselves now are asking these questions. So, in a sense, studying Muslims without looking at the American context is an incomplete study. And therefore, to study the Muslim community, we really had to become scholars of America.
One of the key findings in the book, and I'm sure not a surprise to you if a disappointment, is that this gap of understanding is still rather large. Can you quantify that for us? How much progress have we made? How far do we need to go?
I think much more work needs to be done. There is a great dearth of knowledge. There's a great gap that exists. There's at the same time a great desire, a great reaching out by most Americans. You know, books on Islam have been very popular. Now, many of the books on Islam are not based on research. Very often they're based on some kind of ideology or some kind of political position or library research. So in that sense, this is based in ethnography. This is how people are. We are reflecting people's opinions, good, bad, indifferent, whatever. We are taking a snapshot of society, a photograph of society at a moment in time, which is the anthropological method.
When you mention current events, and we think of some of the dark events, Fort Hood, the attempt in Times Square, that must be very painful to you, a Pakistani American, the culprit in that case. How far back does this set the needle when we're trying to make progress?
It sets it back, John. It goes right back to 9/11, where, as you know, things were really at a 0 point in terms of understanding, sympathy, appreciation of mainstream and Muslim communities. Any incident like this opens the raw wounds, and therefore, for someone like me, it becomes even more urgent, even more important to try to bridge that gap. And therefore, when an incident like this New York Times Square building incident, when this Pakistani Faisal Shahzad tried to blow up the SUV, and everyone now is asking questions once again about the Muslim community, and this time with a focus on the Pakistani community, it really becomes imperative that we begin and accelerate this process of mutual understanding, so that we understand that while there will be individuals, and I'm sure there will be more in the future, the community is solidly American and needs to feel American, so that it becomes the strongest ally against precisely this kind of incident in the future, and anticipates it and stops it from happening rather than react to it once it takes place.
And one of the unfortunate knee-jerk aspects of these types of events is people then generalize in ways that are inaccurate, and that's certainly what this book, Journey into America, is an antidote to. This shows much diversity in the Muslim American community that will come as a surprise to many readers. Congratulations on completing the book. Another great job. Your work continues to be an inspiration to those of us who know you. And for those of you watching, I would recommend you read the book, but also if you'd like to hear a complete interview with Akbar Ahmed, you can visit us on the web at www.wilsoncenter.org, and if you look on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see the word Dialogue. Click on that tab and you'll find a complete 30-minute discussion with Akbar. Thanks.